is so beautiful out here. I am so grateful for so many things, even though it's a time where it's so easy to complain and focus on what we don't have, we as in the bigger, broader we, and easy to also, I find, to have those moments, those little panic moments at times when you feel like the ground is falling out from under your feet, the foundation is crumbling. But to allow those moments to exist on their own, I find, and not to dwell on them and not to see those as the foundation. Um, and that's where I find really, for me, going into this environment, this is my safety place. This is my nurturing environment to get the energy from the trees and the wilderness and the wildlife here and the snow, the beauty. So this is where I go. This is my safe place. And then when I come here, I choose to connect to what I'm grateful for at this time. I have a lot of gratitude for many things that I perceive and I'd like to share with you. In amidst all the difficulties and the challenges that we all have and the uncertainty, and it's all there. I'm not pretending to polish or veneer over it. I'm acknowledging those things. My gratitude does not ignore those, but it actually is because of them in a large sense. And what I find in this process of some things crumbling, it takes me back to science class in high school or even in public school, where they had, I think it was called the displacement theory, where they would have a beaker of water and they push something in and that X amount would flow over the top. But I remember also it mentioned that although you're, in a sense, you're losing something by this, something being pushed in, something also has to be drawn back in, whether it's air or otherwise. I know as well, I'm thinking of our fireplace. And if I leave the door open to the fireplace or the wood stove while I'm getting the fire to go, it there creates a flow. So something that's leaving, or something that we perceive as losing, that's only a perception. If we turn to look into the fear, which fear, I think from Dune, fear is a mind killer. Fear is the little death, and so on. If we face our fear, we will actually, the opposite will happen. If we face our fear, we will see what the shadow is hiding. And that is where the gratitude comes in, is when you understand that although when you're not facing your fear, you see something that you're losing or something that's happening to you. If you face your fear and you look into it, you will actually see that there may be something that is crumbling or disintegrating or burning in the crucible, as I call it. But there's an alchemical process that's going on where you also have something new coming into place that is filling that place of something moving out of the way for this other to come in. So this is what I'm grateful for in its overall dynamic. And I remind myself of this when I do go into fear and into the very real raw essence of that which is extreme challenge and sometimes not very comfortable, whatever it may be. I don't need to put labels on things. Nomad, I am nomad. Nomad backwards is daemon. That's kind of where that first came from, but also recognizing that nomad meaning a journey, a traveler, a passage. I choose to see also the parallel of an inward journey, equal, if not more important, to an external journey. And that inner journey we all share. Each one of us has our own unique journey, but there is something that's in common that I've tried to explain. So I'm grateful, and by being grateful, I acknowledge that I'm witnessing the beauty of what comes in, not just what goes out. And that something needs to go out for something beautiful to come in. And that is, in essence, I think, rebirth, at least on a spiritual level, rebirth on anything and in anything. So I'm very grateful for, in a weird way, things that I have perceived that are a loss. Because in these moments when I am resourced in an environment that I've chosen, I think I tune in on a heart level, on a soul level, to the essence of what beauty there is behind that which is a challenge. I'd like to get into in more detail in other short videos the details, the manifestations of this on both sides of the mirror, but also the importance of even letting go of what you get attached to as a narrative, just as an exercise to allow variations to take place and to shift so that you're not holding on to, for dear life, to a belief out of fear. And a really quick story of when I was a young child, I was skiing, and it was when I was at that age where I don't think I ever got to where I could ski well, but it was the tow rope that pulled me up the hill. And I did once in a while go on the T-bar, which is this bar that comes down, most of you know, and there's two little pieces that come out each side, and the person kind of crouches a bit, and that sits behind their butt, and pulls them up the hill in a sense. But you can't sit down on it because it's got a spring, at least back when I was a kid. So I went up by myself one time, and I was too small, and I had no one to counterbalance this T-bar. And so I got tangled up in it, and my skis were all tangled. I didn't know, out of panic, that they stopped the machine. And a guy in the distance said, while I was hanging onto this thing for dear life, and I didn't know that the spring was pushed all the way down with my weight, he said, "You can let go of it now." And so I let go of it, and this thing came up and whacked me in the face. These are the levels of disorientation and trauma that you can actually invite onto yourself by fear and panic, and by letting go, like cultivating the letting go-ness. And a part of that is the gratitude. You avoid what happened to me as a kid, where I basically manifested an accident, a trauma, out of what led to it. So this is how I'm seeing things at the moment. It's really important to go into gratitude for what you have, and just seeing how it fits into the larger picture, because it may be that we're losing a lot of the things that we're losing are for a greater gain as a whole, something that feeds our foundation, feeds our perceptions even of what our losses are. So when those perceptions have changed from this foundation, that which we have perceived as a loss will not be any longer perceived as a loss even. You know, change your perceptions, change your concept of what loss and gain is even. So I think I'm just going to finish up and end this video pretty well now. I would like to, though, on the topic of gratitude, I'd like to thank all of my friends and clients who have supported me, us, Raven and I, Urban Primitive, now Nomad, in many ways, by coming and getting soul prints when they can, and in other just supportive ways, you know, to show their love for us. And us, I like to show my love for them, and we will never forget the support that we have gotten from a good handful of really, really deep client friends, you know, who are also going through difficult times. And this is another gain that we have from these difficult moments and challenges, is you get to see who is beside you, and you get to see the depth of people around you in the challenging times. Thank you, everybody. You're just sending out my love, and hope one day you can come here and visit us at the home of Nomad.